Yo, what up? It's Lit Book Reviews, the podcast where we discuss all things books. I am Mark Normand, and with me, as always, is Shane Gillis. And we're here to do yet another one. Don't forget that the new Future and Metro Boomin album did just come out, and it's great. Go ahead and check it out. Every download we get 1 penny. So we're here to do another one. How you doing, man? You having a good time over there?
I am, dude. Just here in Nash Vegas, living my life, dude.
Dude, how about this just white t-shirt look we got going on, bro? You hit a certain level of fame and it's just like, I don't even have to try anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Just out here not
we're
trying.
Sponsored by Hanes.
This is actually Lucky Brand.
Shirts.
Dude, this idiot Grayson is calling me again.
I think I'm...
Like I told him, bro. I said, you got 1 minute and we're about to be recording again. I told him, bro.
He missed it, dude. You gotta stay on business.
He missed
sometimes.
It. Every now and then. All right, so today we're talking about a book, and it is titled The Shadow of What Was Lost. It was written by James Islington. It's one of those. And this book this year will be turning 10 years old in August. Came out in August of 2014.
Hooray.
It's currently sitting at a little over 53,000 ratings on the old terrible platform known as Goodreads. And it's got a 4.14 out of 5 stars average rating on said shitty platform. And we're going to talk about it. This is the first book in the Licanius Trilogy. And I'm just going to go ahead and say right off the bat, in an ocean of new fantasy worlds that we've been diving into, this is up there amongst the best. I very much enjoyed this book. Where are you at? What'd you give it? Give me your thoughts.
I gave it a 5 on Goodreads, but yeah, I think this is a solid book. I think this is... I have read the first 6 books of the Wheel of Time. Jesse is not. So, again, I liked this book, but I feel like James really has definitely read The Wheel of Time and definitely got a lot of things from that. But it was still really good. It just reminded me of how much I love just a good journey at like classic, just fantasy. Because that's what this feels like. It's just a crew going on a journey, and let's just find out what happens as we go. There's nothing political going on, no side commentary, just good old classic fantastical fun. And I'm always here for that. So I actually did need this. This kind of brought me back, honestly. We read too many nuanced, oh, this is fantasy with this twist or fantasy with that twist. And this is this is just fantasy.
It's just enough of the
just epic fantasy.
Before we move on, though, would you like to go ahead and place an official plagiarism charge on Mr. Islington? That's what it sounds like.
No. I at first there were a lot of things that I thought so, but he definitely does enough to where it's 100% like his own story. It's just tough to not if you have read The Wheel of Time. There's certain things which we'll get into, which I'm curious to see whenever we do read Wheel of Time, how it affects your read of Wheel of Time, honestly. But he's definitely not even close to I don't want to say not even close. Robert Jordan is way more descriptive, so. This is probably, honestly, a better read for most because The Wheel of Time is just so much, thrown at you.
It's 14
whereas
books,
this is almost 15, but it's more just how thick they are. Each book's 1,000 pages, and there's so many characters, and there's just an index because there's so many people and characters. Whereas this was I don't want to say a great value version because that feels disrespectful, but this is all right, start here first because it's just less commitment. Seemingly, but no, it was a great book. I'm so hyped to read the second, and it definitely is one of my favorites this year already so far, hands down. So no, it's definitely not plagiarism. It's just inspired. It's just
yeah, for
it
sure.
Just feels similar, but I don't honestly. If I was gonna write a fantasy story, it would be in this. This is my favorite kind of fantasy, trope and fantasy lane. So.
Yeah. So if you haven't read it, essentially what you've got is a world where the world building's kind of built around the magic system in a sense that you have like an ancient power, if you will, or an older power that's not looked upon well and it's kind of outlawed and this, that, and the other. There's like this rigorous like law in place based around the magic system, and you got a guy, the main character, who has some of the old magic, and this whole story unfolds. But even knowing, like, if you like read like the little snippet on the back of the book or whatever, the book still goes in like, I mean, you just have no idea what's going to happen. It goes in some wild directions. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, man. I ripped through this one. I read this in like 3 days, I think. And it's kind of thick. I think it was like 600 pages. Um,
Yeah.
and I
It
tore
looks
through it. I
bigger
was
than it
having
really
trouble with
is.
some other ones. Yeah, I mean, it's like a big book, but it's not. It's big font. You know, it's not like huge
It's big
font, but
font.
it's
They have
not
the
small
thick
either.
pages too. They're not like the thin pages.
Yeah, it's like half a tree per page. It's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this, man. I thought it was fun. I liked all the characters, honestly. I would highly recommend this to anyone who enjoys fantasy. The writing I thought was really,
I'm
really
surprised the
good.
rating's not higher.
Yeah, 4.14. I gave it a 5 as well. But it's definitely right up my alley. So I'm not surprised at all that I gave it a 5, you know. Like, even like going
Yeah.
into it, I expected to thoroughly enjoy this, just based on the idea of what it was going to be that I got from it. But I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this series, to be honest. Like,
Oh
even
yeah, I've
on
heard like basically no one
BookTube.
mention
Not that
it.
I'm fully immersed in BookTube, but I haven't seen it a ton. I don't know anyone else who's read this, so man, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Huh? I agree. Sorry. Someone trying to interrupt, dude. This beautiful podcast. But yeah.
That your baby daddy?
No. My roommate, he's like, dude, we gotta go out, man. We gotta go out. I'm like, dude, it's not happening, brother.
Bro,
That
he doesn't
ship
know about
sailed.
these sacrifices we make.
He doesn't. Mm-mm. But what did you just say? Get me back on track.
Well, what do you think about the magic system overall? Like, how did you think about not only what the magic
Mm,
is, but like how it was fleshed out?
I like it. This is something that is very similar to Wheel of Time for me, where it's like they'll give you a little bit of it, but then they don't tell you like what the ceiling is, so you don't really know like, okay, how powerful is the most powerful person, you know? So there's like just
Yeah,
levels, and then it's so nuanced to where you'll get a somewhat of an explanation, but you're really not getting. It's like enough to where it makes sense to where you don't feel cheated,
yeah.
but at the same
Like for
time
the
you're still
moment,
left
yeah,
like I still have no idea really what like is
yeah,
who's someone like what is this person's capabilities, like are they
yeah,
here, are they here, like I just don't know. And like obviously that's
yeah,
done that way so that everything's a mystery when it comes to like you just don't know who's going to be able
yeah.
to do what. So I mean it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like because of like the little bit that you get, and it was plenty for a first book, especially as far as how much you get of world building and magic. But it feels like in between like soft and hard magic system, like it feels like it is a hard magic system, but because you're not, like, it seems like kind of one of those things where a lot of the magic is either like lost or forgotten or just not like discovered
Yeah,
in the book itself yet. So it's not completely defined, but there's like a lot of potential there, for it to be very cool. And what you did get was pretty sick. So yeah, I
I
like
agree.
that. Did you like? You're always big on characters. You thought the characters were done well?
I do. This just felt like getting back to the old fantasy roots for me. This was just simple, good fun. I didn't feel like I almost like want to be careful when I even say this, but it's just like I don't know. I didn't feel like old James is trying to push some narrative of like whatever
Mm,
his political beliefs are. I feel like this is
mm,
just a fun story, like that, you
yeah,
know,
for
is
sure.
real. Like I don't know, like and there's little romances that are going on in here too. Like this is exactly how like I enjoy to have like either friendships, relationships, or like potential beef going on. It's like it's just simple enough to where it's like, man, character X looks over at character Y and is like, wow, they're beautiful, and then all of a sudden that's all it takes, dude. That's it. All right, and then it's just gonna
Yeah,
grow from there. It doesn't need to be something, you know what I mean? It's like because this is something that we all understand. You look
yeah,
over and you're like, dang, who is that?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know. He does it in a simple way but at the same time, it's not like it's just everything's flat and on the surface. It's not. It's just
Right.
I don't know. He gives just enough depth to where it's not too much, but then at the same time, like it does, like you do feel like for certain characters and whatnot. But yeah, there's not really a single character I don't like, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And just the whole, not on character specifically, but you just made me think of like what I've learned that I love. And I guess this is probably a pretty common thing in epic fantasy, but whenever there's, like whatever your main through line is for the plot, whenever there's these big, huge things that you don't fully understand that happened in the past that have huge ramifications on what's going on in the story in the present, but you don't fully understand them. And part of the story is like discovering what happened in the past and like what that means so that we can figure out how to handle a situation now. It feels very like Stormlight esque in that way. And so I always like that, dude, when there's some ancient history to be, you know,
Yeah.
unearthed. Like there's like either this huge, powerful, like, person or thing or whatever that they've got to figure out. That's done super well, man. It just keeps the mystery alive for me. But to go back to characters, I agree. I liked all of them. There was not a single character that at any point like I didn't want to hear more about whenever it came to them. So I thought he did
Yeah.
really, really well with that. Uh, Again, I'd highly recommend
And
if
I
you
was
like
nervous too because
fantasy.
they were
I mean,
young.
yeah, they do start out young. They're like
Oh,
16
and
years old, I think.
sometimes like yeah, and like sometimes that just is tough. But I didn't feel held back at
Yeah,
all in the story by
yeah.
that. So props to James for that.
James has got it going on. So yeah, I mean, non spoiler. That's kind of it. If you like, I mean, for me, based on what I've read, if you're like into anything epic fantasy, I feel like this is one for you for sure. You've read more than I have, specifically the Wheel of Time stuff, but I feel like it would be certainly recommendable for fans of such things. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I would say like a journey fantasy. You know, you have
Mm,
just a group of people that go off to just complete a mission, essentially, or theoretically complete a
yeah,
mission. And then it's just the evolution of like finding out like, oh,
yeah,
we're in for way more than we thought. So it is
yeah,
kind of like a Fellowship of the Ring kind of vibes to me.
yeah. And how are they
With
going to get
obviously,
split up, and who's going to be with who? Like, what's
mhm.
yeah? It's always
And dude,
very interesting. Yeah.
that's what the Wheel of Time does so well, man. Is like you start off with everybody, and then everybody splits up, and then it's like, oh, is everybody gonna get back together? And then
Mm,
so
that is a
having
big
different
trope.
POVs. I
I
love
don't
it,
even know
dude.
if
I
trope's
love
the right word, but that's like Hunger of
just
the
writing
Gods is
style
in
and
there, and
fantasy.
that so far, like that's some of the best
Hmm.
moments in those two books alone is when you
Is
finally
when
when
the groups
characters cross
cross.
paths, you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? So yeah, that's true. I love that. Gotta love it,
Same.
man. They know how to get
Who's your
us.
favorite POV between was it Davian, Asha, and Caden?
And Caden, dude, it's so tough.
I guess Weir kind of has some POVs.
Yeah, Weird does
Maybe
as
not.
well. Dude, I thought Asha's were so good, bro. Every time we went
Really?
to her story, I was like, dude, there's some like because yeah, there was so much mystery and intrigue there with just the I don't know if you want to call it political drama or whatever like her side of things was. I don't know how you define it because it's not super action driven necessarily. But I don't know if I could say she's my favorite, dude. Caden's were because again, I'm all about like the mystery, dude. The more honestly, bro, it's probably in a good like uh way to sell this book or any fantasy to a person. But honestly, bro, like within the parameters of actually understanding all that I could understand, I love being confused. I love being like, wait, what does that mean? Like, what's going on? And like every POV with
Yeah.
Caden, there'd be some vision or just some thought he has where you're like, what? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Um, so probably Caden overall, like those are the ones that I just got the most excited about whenever reading, but they were all
Yeah, I
done really
agree.
well.
Especially
I mean,
towards the
Davian
end.
has one arc, dude. His arc, that one where he's
That one. Yep.
you know, very good, very cool.
Oh, I
So
know.
it's hard to pick. What would you say?
I know. Dude, like one of my favorite twists is with Weir, to be honest. And I
Mm,
liked him and Davian. I mean, dude, all of them are great, like you just said. So I mean,
yeah,
there's moments where all
yeah,
of them are super cool. Um, but probably Weir, if I had to say him or Davian. I mean, I like Caden's is just his at towards the end is like the one that just carries you, like the one that you're
It's
just
so
really waiting
epic.
to get back towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
And dude, the
overall, I
twist at
mean,
the end with
solid book.
Caden,
And
I
then
mean, it's so
we
good.
all saw. I mean,
That
I
was a
saw it coming,
great
but it's
twist.
just still
I
so
mean, yeah,
sick.
but it's still so good.
Um,
Like,
oh, it is. Well, and like before we get into spoilers, because we're definitely getting close to that. I mean, definitely recommend the audiobook with this too. I mean, Michael Kramer's so good, and since you haven't done Wheel of Time yet, it's the same. He does Wheel of Time, so it was just like,
yeah.
I mean, it just felt like I was back home, dude. Listening to him, I was like, oh, dude, this is who's narrating it. Let's go. And then, especially after doing Nevernight, going from such a bad Audible to like such a great Audible was just, I mean, it made it even better. Like on the back of
Yeah. That
Nevernight, it
Nevernight one was
just,
horrible. Yeah, that was horrible.
no, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. All right, sweet. Well, we both highly recommend it. It's What Book Reviews highly recommends The Shadow of What Was Lost, James Islington, or whatever it is. And we will most certainly be finishing out this series. So if you want to see more, keep a lookout. If you don't want anything to be spoiled, now is the time to check out. And 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, dude, yeah, when Davian was off in, the Twilight Zone or whatever that was,
never.
I mean, that was crazy, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that part.
I did too. It's just tough, dude. There is a hard Wheel of Time just arc that is so similar, bro. I mean, so
Really?
similar. So it was just, I mean, he does enough to where it is still unique, but like that whole city is, I mean, a copy paste, dude, from like that was
Really?
one of the most egregious copy pastes. Yes, dude. And same
Wow.
exact vibe of it's like a city no one goes to because of some past curse and something bad happens there that then like continues to like have ramifications throughout like the rest of the books. And it's in book one, dude. It's in literally the Eye of the World. But I mean, it's still cool. It's like
Wow.
still such a good idea. And like he does enough. It's not necessarily exactly like that, but yeah, dude, that was the most egregious. Like if
Wow.
anyone's
That's
watching this and
hilarious.
they've read Eye of the World and they've read The Shadow of What Was Lost, you have to be thinking do you remember the name of the city? I already forgot, but I mean, you know what we're talking about. It's the city that they go into to kind of escape,
Yeah.
those like whatever they're called that are coming
Those
after him. But
wraiths,
anyway, I
essentially.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they remind me, dude, of the Lord of the Rings of the whatchamacallums.
The Nazgul?
The is that what they are? The kings, seven
Yeah, the
kings of
ring wraiths?
men.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Nazgul. Or maybe the
the
Nazgul is
Nazgul.
just the big old thing they ride. But yeah, so that was cool. But
Oh
how
yeah, I
about the
think it is.
part so while Davian is in this with, which dude, Davian's whole thing, the whole timeline of his life, while he's in there, bro, remember Asha sees like that vision of him. Dude, that scene gave me chills. He's like wrapped in chains and like being held back by
Yeah,
something and like tells her she has to do whatever and she can't tell anybody that she's seen him. You're just like, what's about to happen to our boy, bro? That's our number one protagonist and he's in chains in the future. That's not a good
yeah.
look for Davian.
I mean,
Um,
if I had to guess, dude, someone we love is gonna for sure be the antagonist. And it seems like Caden's really being set up to be that guy. But dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If I had to predict it, I think Davian's gonna somehow become the bad guy.
it could be,
And I
man.
mean,
It could be.
I don't know why, but I did like the aspect of him going to that like timeless place and like kind of getting his training going and whatnot. And obviously, there's cool layers to that of him. You kind of figuring out like alongside it, like I don't know. James does a good job of kind of introducing the world to you through these characters because they're also like don't know what's going on, and so
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as much of like a cram session of like, oh, here's how the world works, here's how the magic works. Like you're just slowly getting revealed what's going on with the characters who also don't know what's going on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just thought that was a good way to do that, to like give you world information dump
Yeah.
without like it
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
overly
without just
done
straight
or
up
like draining.
exposition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Dude, how about just I'm trying to think of the parts because it's been like a week since maybe over a week since I
Yeah,
finished this
probably two
book,
weeks.
but the part that really stuck out to me, like as far as early in the book, when I was reading the part where Asha becomes a shadow, dude, that was intense, bro. And that was early in the book
Yeah.
because they give you this really like almost violent picture of it, like this other like kid that you don't know very much about. It happens to him. So when it happens to Asha, like because it happens kind of quick, the guy just pulls the little disc out and does it to her. I was literally audibly like, "Oh no,
Oh no.
no, oh no, Asher!" Like, dude, that
Well, I
got
just
me,
didn't even
bro.
see. I didn't see them literally killing everybody. That came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
I
that was
mean,
wild. I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
I just didn't see that coming out at all. So, I mean, that really raised the stakes of like, wait, what's going on here? Like, what's good? Like,
yeah,
everyone just got killed. Okay,
yeah,
and then anyway, yeah. I mean, just the and that's where the political intrigue comes in because it's like, what is going on? Like, I still don't
yeah,
know what's going on with these guys who have the power or whatever. Like, I can't remember. I mean, I'm gonna do horrible with this episode, dude, of the names of characters. So if you're watching this, and I mean, I'm just gonna have to be describing people at this point, but you know who I'm talking about, the dude who literally makes Asha a shadow, and he's the one who's locked
yeah.
up.
I
And
think that's
anyway, and then
it
at the end
is
he ends
something.
up being is something, yeah. He ends up getting the new role though of being the guy who's like supposed to be alongside of Weir, right? Like his advisor or something. Anyway, he gets a promotion towards the end where it's like, oh Jesus, this guy's about to be a problem. Like he's about to, be around and like have access to way too much stuff. But the going back to like what I thought was like the best twist or like the one that got me the most was Weir being, basically royalty and then being the first,
Yeah,
um, because his family's the one who have the restrictions on magic, and then him kind of anyway, that whole
yeah,
arc with him, I liked that arc, and then Asha bleeds into that arc with um that other guy who is an augur, who's controlling
yeah,
his dad, who's controlling Weir's dad's mind. That was a crazy
yes,
arc too that I just didn't see. Like I knew something was
yeah,
going on, dude, because they kept referring to
yeah,
like about 3 years ago he kind of switched up his energy, and now he's been,
yeah,
this type of way. So I
yeah,
just, obviously didn't see that coming.
yeah. No, I thought that was really cool. For sure. I was thinking about that. I'm trying to remember these people's names as well. I think the other augur's name started with an E. But anyway, yeah, that was crazy how he's
Maybe
essentially
Aaron.
controlling him the whole time because then in the death scene of that character of Weir's dad, you see when the
Yeah.
augur can no longer control him and he like freaks out and is like, "No, dude, I don't want to die." After he just told him like, "Yo, I'm going to freak out in a minute, but you have to let me die." It was still rough. Cuz then you find out like
Oh
why it
man,
happened after and that was just tough.
it was tough.
What are you looking
What are
up?
the characters I'm trying to look up like a
Oh,
list of the characters' names so I don't just, keep absolutely butchering people. But
butcher all of them.
there was another arc, dude. So as far as
What
like
about
groups that
Tayrus,
actually
bro?
enjoyed reading Tayrus, dude, that
Tayrus,
was a
I liked
crazy
him.
him. I liked him too, bro. And then him coming to the other twist that got me coming to find out that he's basically been protecting Davian this whole time by lying about what actually happened, and that it was really
Yeah.
Davian who like went off.
And that was a twist I
But
didn't see at all. Like I did not see that one
but then
coming
there's
at
a
all.
twist on the end of that too, to where it's like, wait, did Terrace do this on purpose though to Davian
Right.
to
Right.
make him? So
Yes.
it's
Did
like,
he
wait, the twist
orchestrate
on
it?
the twist of
Yeah.
okay, Terrace is protecting Davian, but then you realize, oh wait, is he protecting Davian?
Yeah.
Because it seems like he maybe instigated
Yeah.
all this.
Which that reminded me that smacked
So
of the whole thing in Mistborn where to become an Allomancer you have to like essentially go through some turmoil before it'll like come out. That's why like Elend would get said he got tortured as a kid because his dad wanted to see. It reminded me of that. It was like, oh, so these powers might only like manifest in like moments of extreme stress. Otherwise, they won't even show up. So I thought that was
yeah,
interesting.
I agree. I liked the group that was with Weir. I think it's like Elric, maybe,
Yeah,
and
Elric and
then
his sister or whatever,
his
like
sister.
Desiree. What's her name?
Yeah, because Weir starts liking his sister. Yeah, yeah, Desia or something like that.
Yeah,
So because we got a little romance going there, we obviously have a
Mm-hmm.
romance going with Davia and Asha, and
Yeah,
then
and then Ulrich,
or wait,
Ulrich,
Caden,
whatever his name is, likes Weir's sister, but Caden
Caroline,
also likes Weir's sister, right?
yeah, and but Weir's sister isn't about freaking or his
Or
cousin or
cousin.
whatever.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
she's about Caden.
yeah. It seems
You
like it.
know,
It
they
seems
get a little something
like
going there,
Ulrich
and
is kind of getting friend zoned.
oh, he's for sure getting friend zone. But anyway, I liked that little crew that was, because you have Caden. It's Caden, Weir, Ulrich, Deesia, and Terrace. Like I liked that group and reading about them. And that's obviously when Davian's like off doing his like training, and then Asha's back like in the big city. But anyway, I like that, but I did like Asha's group with I think it was like Cole and like Aaron, and then there's like another girl. They're like all the
Aaron's the guy that
augurs.
was controlling
Aaron's the
Weir's
guy,
dad.
yeah.
That's the name. Yeah, good job.
And
That's that.
anyway, that whole scene where Cole like goes in and like savages those two guys and whatnot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I still don't really understand is the people who is it the Shadraheen or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
The shadow, the leader of the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Like just what they got going on, dude. They're just like kind of a freaking Dark Knight card where it's like I
Yeah.
know they end up helping because conveniently they can all technically still use whatchamacallit, which I'm like, how that I must have just missed the significance of like the build up for that because it was like, all right, how did Asha find this out and no one else know that they could do this? Because it didn't seem like it was some
Yeah. Well,
revolutionary
the,
thing. That was only the weakest thing to me,
well, it made sense to me
unless I
because the
read it wrong.
idea was that shadows, because he kind of tries to explain, he kind of builds up that like shadows have never been allowed to touch any vessels. They've never had the status to be even near these things. So I think the idea is that Asha's the first shadow that even got within like close enough proximity, and then she ended up using that veil, and she shouldn't have been able to as a shadow. So it's just, but
Okay,
that's the only way the shadows can use their powers if there's a vessel that already has whatever the like essence is called. I think it's
Stormlight.
essence. Yeah, yeah, the stormlight
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Which, dude, I don't know about you, but I all the time, and it's probably just because so much of it rolls over because we read so much and then watching movies. But Terrace, bro, I was picturing Javier Bardem's Stilgar as Terrace the entire book, and I don't. That's not him, bro. I know it's not, but for some reason, bro, every time he talked, I was like, "Oh, Lisan Agaib." I saw it every time, dude. I don't know why. Um,
I don't know who I saw him as. Definitely as like a wizard esque, Gandalf-y vibes. But I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that though. I
I mean,
mean,
it was
dude did
Stilgar for me,
change
bro, in
everything.
full Fremen outfit, bro, with the nose piece and
He's just
everything. Like he was completely out of context in this book. Uh,
that'd be
but no, dude, I
hilarious,
really like this
honestly.
one. I agree with what you said in the non-spoiler section, bro. This one brought me back because I was struggling. I mean, I'm still on track, like as far as reading goals, but I was not thoroughly enjoying reading for a couple of books. There, as far as fantasy, my history's been kicking pretty strong
Yeah,
this year, but I was getting a little burnout on fantasy with just some of the stuff we've picked up recently. But this one brought me right back, dude.
we're back, dude. We are back, and I mean, just the lore of this book, you can tell like it's got like a long trajectory. I mean, it does feel like there should be more than three just off the first
Yeah,
book.
it
Like it
does.
feels like something where three is going to be really cutting this like short, honestly. Because I feel like we're
Right.
just now getting dipped into the world. Like I could see this being a 5 to 7 like book series, but I'm enjoying the ride
I'm
so
also
far,
okay that
and
it's not though. Like I'm okay with just a trilogy that's like done. I kind of like the idea of that.
yeah. So what is the name? Caden, he is technically um what's his
Oh, dude, I
name?
forgot.
Because Caden's not his real name. Caden's the guy that he kills, which is
Yeah, that's
crazy. The
just
little boy
the
that he
name of
kills.
yeah. That was crazy. Um. Okay, so
Talcamar.
Tal Kamar, which is such a sick name, Tal Kamar,
That really is a great one.
and that's honestly, dude. I mean,
But what's
Caden is
the
like the like for me was kind of the spine of this story because it just made it so epic. Like
Oh, dude, yeah.
you do realize at one point you're like, all right, this dude's the
Arkan
guy from the
Devet.
prologue. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Arkan
his
Devet.
like
Dude,
old
that's
name.
such a cool concept though, to be the villain and then realize like being someone who is a hero that becomes a villain, and then you wipe your own memory to like prevent you from just the tragedy of knowing you're the villain, and then you have like this whole arc where you have friends and you want to like achieve a mission for them, and then you come to
Yeah.
realize, dude, that you are the villain. It's like, wait,
You're
what?
like,
I
I'm
mean, that
literally the
is,
bad guy. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, dude. That is crazy, and
Yeah.
it's so well done too in the first book. So,
Yeah.
um, even though I do feel like it was slightly obvious, like it's just still so satisfying to find
Hmm.
out. Um,
Yeah.
so
I agree. I agree. Yeah. So overall, man, great book. Excited for the next one. If you've read this, drop a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. You probably won't because you're probably not watching, but we're still out here. Anything else you want to add to it, my
we
friend?
heard. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Bet. Well, like and sub, leave a comment, check out our other videos, see if there's anything on there you like, and we'll see you on the next one. It's the book reviews outskis.